Sure, that'll be great.
Okay, cool. All right, here we go. My name is Amy Sanchez. I am currently a second grade teacher virtually. My home base is Riverview, but I'm one of the lucky people, and you'll see as I share my screen, that has 4 wonderful schools that I'm servicing. Although, lucky me, one of them is Riverview at least. There's a couple people on here who have 4 schools and none of them are their home site, so it could be worse. And Kelly, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, my name is Kelly Moore. I am a 4th grade teacher. I'm originally from Susan B. Anthony, but I am one of the lucky ones that have 4 sites this year.
And then
Amy, also, real quick, do you have the chat open, Amy? I don't see it.
Oh, nope, I can start it though.
Okay.
Maybe. No, and you know what? That's okay, because I'm going to go, Kelly, with let's try and do this live as much as possible. Only because if you've been to any of our other trainings, Audrey and I have very different teaching styles because she's young and excited. And I know the reality of how some of us, this is a second language. We didn't grow up using this, and this is all new. So because of that, I'm going to go a little bit slower, and I would ask that if you have a question, it's okay to go ahead and we'll pop in. And you also are going to have lots of time to get into your own Edgenuity, because if you are like me, I need to do it myself. I can't just watch somebody else do it or it's not going to stick. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and I will give you a look at our agenda for today. Okay, Kelly, can you see screen okay?
Yep.
Fabulous. All right, here we go. So you are in modifications and groups for Edgenuity. This is what I like to call basics number 2. If you haven't attended basics number 1, that's okay. This training will be fine, but you may want to go back and pick it up, because that's where you're going to learn about things like how to master your calendar, how to add agendas. There's lots of great information in that as well that's very different from what you're going to get today. So I encourage you to go visit that one as well.
Amy, will you send this to us?
Yes, I'll go ahead and I'm going to email out the link to this, because you really want to have this in your possession, because as you'll see as I go through it, it's got lots and lots of different videos that you can go back and refer to. So in that same I sent you out an email that has our Zoom link. You'll get another one just like that that's going to have all of the information for this presentation, because it really is a handy way to go back and refer to all the things that we're going to talk about. So today we're going to take a look at what you can do in EdGen, with the caveat, Mike is here. Anybody who wants to yell about updates, art tiles, must complete, that's all Mike. That is so not Amy. That's a Mike issue, and he loves those questions. So feel free, we'll save those for the end though, because yeah, just because. So I have actually told my kids that there's a leprechaun that lives in Edgenuity, and sometimes at night when he's feeling silly, he'll come in and change things around. So when we wake up in the morning, it looks completely different. And they've bought it because it's happened so many times. I'll go on to our Zoom and they'll be like, the leprechaun was in again. Well, yes, he was. What can we do about that? The leprechaun also is the one that lives in the little box that you can pop out and do the voices. He hides out in there. So, all right, so we're going to take a look at what we can do in Edgenuity. We're going to learn how to create and manage groups and assign work to those groups, which is going to be super handy if you have kids on an IEP or kids that are reading either far below or far above your grade level standards. We're going to look at how we can modify existing Edgenuity assignments. And then my favorite part is how we can put lots and lots of different things into Edgenuity if we choose to use it. So I'm just going to give you a quick tour, if I can get out, of what my Edgenuity right now looks like. Thank you. Yes, I've got all of those art tiles too. So if you're a lucky one like I am that has many, many different schools, you're going to find that your tiles runneth over. So there is a way that you can go through, and we go over, and in basic 1, I've color coded all of mine except arts and crafts since the leprechaun put them in last night. But everything else I have color coded, and all of that is covered in Basics 1. But I just wanted to show you a couple of things that you can do, and then I'll show you how to do it. So I'm gonna go into one of my readings. This one is Corona Ranch. This is a landing page. So when you set it up correctly, you don't have to use their calendar anymore. You can completely bypass the Edgenuity calendar and put an agenda up on the top. So since my kids are little, I don't do a weekly agenda with all of their different subjects. On the top of each of my landing pages, I tell them what they're going to do that week. You can also embed this. I like to use a Bitmoji Classroom for our Zoom backdrop where I can just put things in like the flag, salute, and calendar and stuff. So I post a copy for the kids here as well because they can make it bigger, and then all of these books link to books. This links to some craft activities. This links to a little video. So all of these are different things you can do within your landing page. But also, I'm going to come down here to Module 4, which is where my kids are because we are actually a week behind because I had to take a week off for testing because it was just too much. We were getting overwhelmed, them and me both. So that is one of the very nice things about setting our own pacing is when we need to take a week, we can. And we did. So we're in Module 4. I like to add in a lot of things to pre-teach because, as you know, the Edgenuity goes very, very quickly and makes a lot of assumptions about what the kids already know. So one of the functionalities that we have is we can add videos into it. So I'll put in things like this one. Well, hello, kids. Welcome to Module. Is me doing a lesson on asking and telling sentences. And you can see it's embedded right at the top of Module 4. So my kids know they go in order down the line. They have, this is a video of me pre-teaching concepts. This is another video of reviewing short vowel sounds. And then they get into their regular Edgenuity lessons. But down here at the bottom, you can also see I've added in a reading log. So they don't have to do that paper reading log, and it just comes back to me in my Google Classroom. I've added in the spelling test. If you are a second grade teacher, then you know we have a group, a cohort that is creating the spelling tests. They're real easy to make though, and anybody who's interested, I can show you. So you don't have to do it synchronously. This spelling test, they can access whenever they want. And it just has fog. The fog is heavy over the trees this morning. Fog. And they type in their answer. Shh, stop talking. They type in their answer right there, submit. Super easy to grade. So that's functionality that you have.
I don't have a chat area in mine. Is there chat up, Amy? It's Sarah.
Oh no, I don't have the chat up. I said go ahead and just as you have questions, pop in.
Okay.
Okay. And then also down here in Module 5, I wanted to show you what it looks like. This one right here, this long A, is a video, but can you see it's got an eyeball on it, which we all know at this point means I'm gonna hide it. But here's the cool thing. It's hidden for all of my kids except for my 5 that are running record level A, B, C, D. So I'm gonna show you how you can make things show up for only part of your class, which is another functionality that you have as well. A couple other things you can do. Let me go into a math. Within here, you have the ability to add on math quizzes that are different from the ones that are within your Edgenuity. You can also, next week for Module 5 in 2nd grade, it's bad. It's really, really bad. And so I completely gutted it. And all of these are actually the Pearson. So I'm using the Pearson instead just because it's just a much better platform for what they were trying to teach. So all of this fun stuff is what we're going to learn how to do today. So we're going to start with creating and managing groups. Now, when you do this, this is what your students are going to see. These are 2 of my different kids, and I showed you that long A spelling with a line through it. This is a kid right here who's in my lower group. So they see the long A spelling under first thing in module 5. This child is not. They don't even see it at all. So that's the great thing about working with groups, is you can add things in for some kids that the other ones might not necessarily need. All right, so here's how you do it. I'm gonna do one and show you, and then I'm gonna give you about 5 minutes so that those of you who wanna try it can try on your own. And this is why I'm gonna say a big thank you to the Leprechaun and Edgenuity, because we have art tiles we can play around in that are gonna disappear tonight, hopefully, right, Mike? So that actually, it gives you a great opportunity to try some of these things out. Now, Mike is shaking his head, woohoo. I'm gonna send this out to you because guess what? I'm gonna show you, but there's a video in here so that you're gonna be able to go back and watch it just in case you forget, okay? So I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna go into my art because this is the one time the leprechaun worked in my favor, okay? And you're gonna go into your editor. Now you can get to editor over here like I am on this side, or you can do it from your teacher app as well. It's right here. So editor is always that little pencil, and it lives in a couple of different places. You're gonna open your pencil, and right up here, you have your wrench, which is the tools, but your wrench is your best friend. So many things hide in here. So you're gonna click on your wrench, and inside the wrench, if you scroll down, you're gonna find manage groupings. This is where we make our groups. So you click on that. It's gonna ask you, do you wanna add a group? I do. And then it's gonna tell me, okay, it's gonna ask me what kind of group I want. So I can name this anything I want. The kids will never see the name, okay? So in my language arts ones, I think I have it named like running records A through D or something like that. So we'll just call this one blue group. They won't see it. Okay, now how do we want to create the group? In Edgenuity, it's actually kind of a cool feature. If you want to do random grouping, say for a project, and you want just random assignments, you can do that. But that's not what I want for this. I want to be able to put specific students in a group. So this group creation method, I don't want it to have just a number of kids. I want to know that I'm just making a fixed number of groups, and I just want to make one group. So I'm going to change that to 1. Now for my group assignment, I don't want Edgenuity. I do not want the leprechaun to choose who's going to my group. So when I click there, I'm going to choose none. Although if you were just making a group, you could do it alphabetical, round robin, all of these other choices for a group project, say, but that's not what I want. So I'm going to put none. When I do that and click generate, it's going to give me a list of all my kids. Now remember, all of my kids are spread across 4 tiles. So I happen to be in my Riverview classroom right now, so I'm only seeing my Riverview kids. I will have to go through, and even though they're gonna be one group for grading purposes and for me for planning purposes, I'm gonna have to choose them within each tile, and then I'm just gonna name it the same thing. So for the purposes of this, let's say I wanna put in Iris and I wanna put in Belinda. I click their 2 names, and then I click save. Now, Iris and Belinda are in this group, okay? After we do that, then I'm gonna show you how you can add assignments. But right now, I wanna give you a couple of minutes. If you can shrink my screen, I'm gonna go back and stop sharing. And go ahead and open up a new tab on yours if you would like to, and pop into your Edgenuity, maybe try out that art module and see if you can create a group. If you get stuck, I'm sitting right here, so you can ask any
Amy.
questions too. Yes.
Amy, I don't have the art module. If I create a group, will it pull kids from their main work, or is this just a bonus?
No. So what will happen when you have kids in a group, you're gonna at that point get to choose. So they're gonna see in the situation I set up where I was adding a video, they're gonna see all their normal stuff plus the video. Now you can also do things where, let's say you don't want, there's a quiz and it's hard and you don't want them to take the entire quiz. You can actually make it so they don't see the original quiz. They only see your modified one, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. But for the purposes of making a group, no, you're not taking away anything right now by making a group. So you can play with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amy, I forgot what you said. Target number of students per group. Does that matter?
Okay, yes. So I'm going to go back into mine. Hold on, give me 30 seconds. Okay. Okay, so we went wrench, manage groupings, add group, your group name. For target number of students, you don't want that because that would be like, let's say, Sarah, I just want groups that each group has 4 kids in it. That's not what we want. We want to be able to choose how many groups we're using. So we're going to choose fixed number of groups,
okay,
and then make that fixed number of groups. We just want 1 group.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And then for your group assignment, you don't want the computer. Heaven forbid we give any more power to Edgenuity. That would be none.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
So the students don't see that they're in a group, though?
They do not. Nope.
Okay.
You're not going to see the name of your group, and they're not going to know they're in a special group. You're the only one that knows that.
So
Okay,
this wouldn't be good for like doing like a reading group. Like if you're doing small reading groups, you wouldn't group them in this, and they know that they have to report to you at whatever time.
Well, what you could do for reading groups is, let's say you were using a RazKid product, and so you downloaded, this particular group is working in a level A reader, and then you have a level G group, and then you have a level J group. You could actually embed those books into Edgenuity so that each of your reading groups has a copy of the book that they're working on within Edgenuity.
Okay.
Amy, oh gosh, I just clicked on it. I unchecked after I pressed generate and I chose my students at the top yellow, I unchecked the each person in only 1 group, because what if I want to make a math group? Is that what it meant?
Well, here's the great thing, Sarah, is each tile you're going to do differently. So you could have kids in your reading, and let's say you have 1 low group and 1 super high group in reading. When you go to your math tile, those kids are not in a group anymore. So within each of your subjects, you can create different groups and different types of groupings.
Okay, so should I keep that checked or unchecked? What's the point of this, this check box?
Okay, this is going to be one of those answers where I go, I don't know, try it and see. My favorite mantra is, I can't break Edgenuity. Believe me, I've tried. And there's nothing that we can't undo. Well, there's nothing that Audrey can't undo. So go ahead and try it. And I have not unchecked that, and it's working fine. So you're the guinea pig, Sarah. Let us know how it goes.
I'll let you know. Well, I checked it, so maybe I'll go back and uncheck it. And
Okay, cool.
Okay, if you have multiple schools and you have like math, do you have to do it for each one?
You do, Jessica. Each tile, because in each tile is going to be your enrollment for that particular school.
Okay.
So I name them all the same thing so that when I'm doing lesson plans or whatever, I just know that group, blue group, is getting whatever whatever resource I'm providing. But yes, within each tile, you have to add or not add kids to the group. I have 1 school where everybody's reading a level N, and I'm like, you guys are easy. I don't ever need to go in and make groups in that tile. Okay? I'm gonna give you 1 more minute to play around, and then we'll go on to the next part.
I'm sorry, I was just trying it right now, but since I was under the art tile and our students aren't in there, I went through all the steps, generate groups, none, but then no student names popped up. Is that just because the art tiles are inactive, or did I miss a step?
Well, I'll tell you what, art tiles may be in the process right now of deactivating, would be my guess.
Okay.
I did have kids this morning when I did mine.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did, but you know, this is a work in progress, and we were told they were going to disappear by this afternoon. So it would be my luck that they disappear in the middle of the training.
Okay, I'll just try another subject area.
I have a question. If I make a group, you know, like for reading groups, if I, you know, let's say one child just is all of a sudden excelling and I don't want them in that group anymore, can I re-edit the group and take them out of it?
Absolutely. So you can be as flexible as you want or need to be within your groups.
So I just edit through that wrench and I can go back?
Yep.
How do you go back to a group when you, instead of editing a group?
When you open that wrench, you will see that your group right there pops up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
you'll see your existing group there. And then if you, for example, if you wanted to add another group, then you could do that as well.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back into.
Oh, sorry, Amy. Can I ask? I cannot find my wrench. It's like disappeared. It's not there. Does anybody ever have that problem?
I've never heard of that problem. So if you can hang tight after, Mike's on the line, and he's the one that, yeah, we will ask him. Hi, Mike, and see if we can make your wrench reappear.
You have to click editor first, and then the wrench appears.
Oh, thanks, Jessica. Were you not in editor mode?
No. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. Thank you.
And see, that's why we're not using a chat room. It's the corporate wisdom that's going to get us through this. Okay.
Amy, could you just walk through all of those steps that you just did?
Absolutely.
Could you do it one more time, so now that we've tried it, we can figure out what we did right or wrong?
Absolutely. Okay, here you go. So let me cancel you. So, hey, see, I did have kids. I was in arts and crafts. I do have kids in there still. Okay, so I'll go into this arts and crafts and we'll see if there's still kids. We're going to go into editor. Choose your wrench. Go to manage groupings. Add a group. The stars. I don't know. We want a fixed number of groups. I'm just making one group. And I want to choose the kids myself, so I'm putting none. Generate. See, look at the kid. Literally, the children disappeared during the training. This, though, Celeste, would be where the kids' names pop up. You would choose the kids and click save. Fabulous. All right. And that is Edgenuity in a nutshell, my friends.
Well, that's what I saw, Amy. Same thing. I just thought I missed a step, but that's what it was.
It was not you. It is the impeccable Edgenuity timing.
It is going to account. It's going to account for a lot of people needing sobriety, like, you know, therapy after this. I'll tell you.
Seriously, I hope that our medical benefits include that. All right, moving on. So modifying an existing Edgenuity work. You have videos here that you'll get. As soon as we're done here, I'll send them out. This is how you use your settings buttons, which are located within the wrench. This is if for some reason you really love an Edgenuity quiz. Now I gotta tell you, I'm biased because I teach little kids and the quizzes are not anything to write home about. But if for those of you who are teaching 4th and 5th grade and you're like, wow, these quizzes are dynamite, you actually can assign quizzes, and then within a quiz, you have all sorts of things that you can do to modify them. Okay, can you guys hear that squeaking? It's my fan dying. Hold that thought. Because I'm ADD enough already without having that squeaking in my ear. So when you want to modify or duplicate a quiz, what you're gonna do is we're gonna just find a quiz that we like. Oh, trust me, it's not gonna be easy. Okay, I'm gonna go into reading, and of course, we're not gonna go into reading. And so I'm in my reading, and I think I did not delete some of the quizzes. Okay, in Module 2, we had a reading comprehension quiz right here. So what you're gonna do is you wanna go into editor again. Editor is your friend. Anytime you wanna mess with things, that's where you're gonna do it. So I'm gonna go into editor. And this quiz, I'm gonna play a little bit around with because I wanna be able to use it for, say, kids on an IEP. And so maybe one of the accommodations my kids have is that they have to do less questions than the other kids. So I still want to use this quiz from Edgenuity, but I just want to play with it a little bit. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of it. So I have one clean original copy that all my kids are going to have access to. But then I'm going to have a separate copy that I can mess around with just for a few kids. So this little 3 ice creams right here, has a duplicate button. So if you push duplicate, it's going to say, yeah, that's what you want to duplicate. Yes, it is. And now, ta-dum, where is it at? I don't see it. Let's try again. Duplicate, duplicate. There it is. Okay, they were just slow pokes. They always end up down here at the bottom. Now I have 3 quizzes that I'm not going to use, but that's okay. So I'm just going to move this guy up here and put it next to the other one. And then within this quiz, there's a whole bunch of super cool settings. So to get to settings, I'm in editor mode again. Your first little tab up here is activity. This shows you the quiz just as Edgenuity pushed it out. So this one was about a story they read about a treehouse. I haven't done, this is all created by Edgenuity. In the settings button though, you can start playing around with things, which is kind of fun. So you can say, I already changed this to unlimited attempts. The default is 1 attempt, but because I want my kids to actually be able to go back and reread and retake, I had already changed this one. But you can change it here. So some kids get to take it as many times as they want. You can make it custom. They can take it 2 times, whatever you want. And then you've got some choices down here as well. Now, what's kind of fun is when you get to down in these advanced assessment options, you've got some cool tools in here. So this is advanced assessment. If you forget, it's in the video, or just start clicking things. Remember, you can't break Edgenuity. So you've got some things like a highlighter, just like, this is almost like on state testing, where you've got some different tools that that the kids get embedded. So you've got a highlighter. Answer eliminator is kind of fun because they can click and the program itself will start taking out answer choices. For the big kids that take notes on there, you can allow their notes. That's not as germane for the littles. You can include a calculator. There's a bunch of different things that you can do within all of these tabs. So you can just start clicking through them. And there's lots of different settings here. But the fun part is once you get to questions, in here, you can get rid of questions. So let's say I only want this kid to have 1 question, and that is, where did the Robinson family build the house? Well, I can take these other questions and I can just start getting rid of them. There's a trash can. Goodbye. Now this kid only has 4 questions. Let's say this question, this actually was a really hard test. My kids didn't do well on it. So why is a tree house a good place to live if there's mosquitoes around? Let's say I'm like, this is really hard. I'm going to get rid of 2 of the choices. I want to give them a 50-50 chance for my kids that are on IEPs. I can do that as well. So you can mess around, add choices, take away choices. You can change the choices. So one of them is really, really not great. So within the Edgenuity created quizzes, you can do all that. So you play around with it as much as you want. Click save. And then here's the thing. I should have done this in the beginning. I want to make sure that I remember this is the one I just messed around with. So do something. Audrey puts a star, which is fine, because otherwise you're going to have 2 quizzes that look exactly the same with the same name, and that becomes problematic. So now I've got my quiz as created by Edgenuity, and I've got my quiz as created by me. Here's where the fun happens. I keep saying that. I really do enjoy this, you guys. I promise, if we can get through all of the technical bugs, the program isn't horrible because you can do things like this. I've got my group, so I can go into my group settings, and this is actually really a group that I do have in my class. And within this one group, I can turn off the quiz everybody's getting and leave my new quiz on. And then I can go back to my whole class, make sure they're getting the original Edgenuity quiz, and turn off the ones for my small group. Now, each of my groups is only seeing the quiz that I designed for them. So that works kind of the same way like I showed you in the presentation, where my kids that are not in that group are not seeing this object. My kids that are in this group are seeing that extra video. It works the same way, but in this case, they're seeing one quiz or a different quiz. So that's a really great way to make modifications for those kids who are on IEPs and have accommodations that are built into their IEP. You can do that for anything that is a quiz that's made within Edgenuity. Now, here's the bummer part. What you can't do is mess with Edgenuity lessons. So this 2-1 family fun, I only have 2 choices. Sorry, let me open it as a preview. I can take the whole entire lesson as it is, or I can hide the whole entire lesson as it is. But I can't say, I really don't like page 2. I want to just get rid of page 2. We don't have that functionality. According to Edgenuity, they did not create this, a different company did. So even Edgenuity can't just take 1 page out of a lesson. So it's either use the whole thing or hide the whole thing with the eyeball. All right, so I'm gonna come back.
Amy, I have a quick question.
And that's why I was gonna come back and say, questions.
Okay, so I abhor my students having to record themselves reading things, but it's embedded in the lesson.
Yes.
So can I just turn off that they have to turn that in, or what will happen?
So what's gonna happen is you're gonna turn off the turn it in place. And what I do is, here, I can show you real quick. Let me show you inside of my, I think I've done this week inside of the social studies because I'm with you and it shows up in a lot of places. Now I get why they did it and I get the oral language and I'm not gonna argue with that, but it's a pain and the buzz and the whole thing is just horrid. So what I did was up here in my header, put in very bold letters, you do not need to submit your audio recording. So when they get to that page, this is kind of a visual to remind them, please do not send it to your teacher. Some of them still will, but without the submission box, they are stuck sending it to me via Dojo or text. So most of them now have gotten the fact that I do not want their audio recordings, but I will still put this up here because, as you said, it's a page on the lesson. And I either need to get rid of the whole lesson or it's either in or out.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a,
Jennifer Bush.
Okay, all right. I have a question. When you were doing the changing the test or the quiz, it had a thing that said remediation question or remediation. What does it do automatically? What does it do for that?
Jennifer, that is an awesome question. I can't wait for you to try it and then send us all an email about what happened. I have no idea. Okay. So haven't tried that function. That's going to be one that I can't wait to hear back from you on how it works out.
Well, I teach kindergarten. They don't even read the questions out loud. I don't know how they're even taking some of these quizzes. Parents have to read everything to them.
Yep. Oh. Which, you know, of course, gives a very valid result on that quiz.
I know, you're telling me.
Okay. There was another question.
Yeah, Amy, I'm just wondering I'm sorry, was there somebody else?
No, go for it.
Okay, I'm just wondering, now, if there's an assignment you definitely know you will not use, is it better to delete it or hide it?
Well, it's a good question, and there's a couple of answers. If you have unchecked that box that says continuous calendar, so you are completely doing your own agendas, then either one is going to work for you. I choose to hide things because you never know, in a fit of crazy, I might come back and decide I want something, or as happens more often, I mess something up and then I have to go back and undo everything that I did. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was looking ahead at the science, and I'm like, oh, I really like lesson 12 better for our next lesson. And I pulled it up and I hid stuff and whatever. And then I realized they don't have the papers that go with lesson 12 yet. They barely just got the papers that go with module 4. So it just makes it easier for me to hide them, but still see everything because then I know what I did. But either way, if you are not on the continuous 365, you are not going to mess up your pacing either way. That's the great thing about not using their calendar.
Okay, and I took off the student calendar, and I've been putting it on the landing page, but now there's nothing under their to-do list since I took off their calendar.
Correct. That's going to be one of the great things, though, because they're not going to have all that overdue work. Now, next week, we're going to be offering a training on gradebook and specific calendaring. So if you like the idea of giving assignments due dates, there is a way to do that once you turn off the Edgenuity I'll just say at night, you know what the word I'm thinking. The Edgenuity staff, you can go back in and then create your own calendar. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't do that because with 16 tiles, it's a lot of repetitive work. But if you're one of those people who only has one school, it actually is a really, really nice option. You can go back in and plug those in yourself, and it creates their to-do list, and all of the things that Edgenuity did wrong, you can fix and make them right. For those of us with 4 schools, it's not realistic. Okay, real quick, if we can stop questions, we'll get some more at the end, but I want to show you the best part of all, which is how you can put all of these great things in. So I'm going to go back to our presentation. And again, if you want to duplicate or modify quizzes, you've got a video in here. If you want to change those settings for adding highlighters, adding calculators, all of that good stuff, it's right here in this settings walkthrough. All right, so what can you add? You can absolutely add studies weekly. There's a couple ways to do it. This is going to walk you through if your kids are currently using the My CNUSD Clever login. So if you're a brave soul and you conquered that mountain already, say maybe you're using Google Classroom as your main platform, then you're going to want to use these workarounds to be able to insert studies weekly into your Edgenuity. Although if you're using a Google Classroom, I'm going to be frank, it's easier to assign it through Google Classroom than it is Edgenuity. Now, if you're a purist like me, and the reason that I chose to go the direction I did was I have a number of kids who are working on their parents' work computers. And so they don't have an assigned Chromebook from the district that when they turn it on, they are the only Google Drive account. They're trying to share computers, and so that gets really confusing, especially for littles, because they're logged onto their parents' drive, and it's just kind of a mess. So what I've done is I still use the Studies Weekly, but I go through and I open Studies Weekly directly through my teacher app. I record myself going through the lesson, clicking the buttons, and then I make a quiz through Google Forms at the end instead of using the Studies Weekly quiz. So that's a way that you can avoid the Clever login if you have not conquered that yet with your kids. If you've already done that, then Audrey will show you a pretty easy, not super easy, but a pretty easy way to put Studies Weekly, make its own folder, and put it into your Edgenuity. This video right here is shareable, so you can just click on the link and share it with your parents, and it'll show them exactly how to log on to Studies Weekly, used from Edgenuity, not from My CNUSD. So I'm not going to go over those. I'm also not going to go over Khan Academy, but it works the exact same way as, as Studies Weekly. You can embed it, but to do so, again, you have to have the kids log in through Clever. So this is really, really great for those of you who are having the kids go to My CNUSD and then go to Edgenuity through the digital classroom button. This will work amazing for you. All right, and again, you've got a video for the kids and the parents, and there's a video for you on how to embed it. So moving on, now within the Google Classroom, most of you probably already know there's a number of different things that you can do as a teacher. You can make documents, you can do a slideshow, you can use forms to make quizzes. All of those have great functionality within Edgenuity. In fact, our Google Classrooms are already linked into Edgenuity, so you'll see in a minute how easy it is to add things that are in your Google Classroom. So you're going to have instructions. I'm going to do Flipgrid last because it's my favorite. You've got instructions here for adding a document, a slide, and a form, but we're actually going to add one right now to practice, and then you can go back to these later on if you happen to forget, which I do frequently. So I am going to come back into, social studies is fine. That's okay. But I need to be, when I'm adding anything, remember, we've got to be in editor mode. So I'm going to pick my editor mode right down here. And that'll take me into that same page where I was doing making groups, where I was going to change my landing page. If you went to basic 1, the editor page is the one with the wrench. Who is your best friend? So let's say first I want to add a Google slide. So I use Google Slides all the time. That's what I used. In fact, let me leave this so I can show you. That's what I use for my pre-teaching. So the videos that I use to introduce the vocabulary, I have a lot of ELs, and so they really need to have some understanding and some preloading of vocabulary and concepts. All of these I've done on Google Slides, and you can see they embed beautifully into Edgenuity. So what you're going to do is within your editor mode, you're going to decide where you want to put it. So let's say I'm going to put it in module 6, and let's pretend that I had created content. I'll grab some real content. I'm going to use this add activity button right here. See that little gray plus sign deal? That one is going to put it right here into module 6. So I'm going to click on it, and it's going to open up this add box. You've got lots and lots of different things that you can add from this add box. As you can see, these ones are super easy. Let's say I just want to pop a YouTube video in there because the theme is dentist visit, and I want to put in a story of kids going to the dentist. I can direct link a YouTube video here. It's easy, easy, easy. But I want to put some slides in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an assignment. Assignment is right here. You're going to click on it, and you'll get this box. You need to name it something. So I'm going to name it Trip to the Dentist. Now remember, we're pretending that I already made this. So I've been in my Google documents, and I've already made whatever I want to add in. So when I go right here and I choose Google Document, I'm going to get this blue pop-up. So as a side note, I'm going to open my drive real quick, and let's just do a pretend. I'm going to do a pretend slide, and we're going to call it Dentist. It's going slowpoke. So we're going to pretend this is a beautiful thing that I've created for the kids. So I've got this slide called Dentist. In Edgenuity, I'm going to choose Google Document, and boom, it's automatically linked with my Google Drive already. Now, it's a little clunky because it's not going to show me that my first screen that's got the things that I recently worked on, but it's going to show me every single folder that I've got and all the folders inside of folders. So the easiest way to find things is just to put the title in. I think I called that Dentist. Oh, there it is right there. So I'm going to click on that. It already found that for me. And look, it pasted the URL right in there. And then I like it. I'm going to preview it just to make sure. Do I want to continue? Yeah, I really want to look at it. Boom. There's that thing that I just made randomly inside my Google Drive, and it's linked right here beautifully. So I really like the preview. Yay, it's good. Okay, so I could save it, but I'm going to show you a trick. Hold on, let me show you a trick, and then I'll go back. Right in this settings button, just like there was a settings button when I was modifying my quizzes, it lives here too. So let's say this is not something that I want graded. This is me pre-teaching something. I'm going to uncheck this button, and it is no longer gradable. It is just an assignment for the kids. Now my kids though really, really love those green check marks. So as they finish something, they want to see that there's a green check mark on it. So right here, it lets me make a box for green check marks. Either they spend a specific amount of time, like if they look at that for 1 minute, it will check that they completed it. Or I like to do marks this activity complete. That gives them that little box that they can click to show that they did it. And then I'm going to save. So what they'll see when they open this up, it's down here. I could drag it to the top, but they're going to open it up. Actually, let me just go in so you can see it in the student view. Module 6. They open it. They've got the content that I've got here, but they've also now got this box that they can mark it as complete when they've finished interacting with content. Now, for Google Slides, the way that I just embedded it, this is not going to give you a slide assignment. So these slides, the kids will be able to see them. They'll be able to click any links. So say you linked out to a book or you linked out to a website, they can do that, but they cannot move things around, nor can they complete an assignment. So let's say you had pictures that you wanted to have the kids move around and match with the word family that they're in. That you can't do that like this. This is only for things that they're gonna watch, okay? There is a way to do an assignment. It's just it has an extra step from what we're doing here. Okay, so that's how we can embed a slide. I'm gonna show you real quick how to embed a form, and then we'll stop and you can play for a couple of minutes, okay? I use forms for lots of things, like this weekly reading log is a form. We use them also for spelling tests in 2nd grade. So this is made from a form. So to embed a form, what you want to do is, of course, you're going to be in your drive and you're going to figure out what form you want. So I'm working in module 5 right now. So I have, this one is a spelling test. This one is just a little math quiz. That one's about, I have 3 math quizzes because remember, I gutted all of the work in module 5 and went back and did it myself. So once you've got your form ready, I'm gonna show you how to upload this one. It's 5.2. Even though it's math, I have to remember to take it out or my kids are gonna freak out tomorrow. You're gonna go back into your editor and you're gonna do your plus sign wherever you wanna put it in. And you can, I like to make it from an assignment too, but you can actually, you'll notice there is a Google Drive document over here. You can embed this way. You can also embed in the website link. Each way that you do it, it looks a little bit differently, but they all work. So this is how I found that I like to do it the best, but you can play around with all of these because they all work. Oops, I just made it disappear. So I'm gonna make it an assignment again. That was called 5.2 something, I can't remember. But for this form, I'm gonna make it, this was a trick I learned. I'm gonna put it in as a website because if you noticed on my last spelling test, it was not beautiful. If I put it in as a Google document, I lose all my cute headers and colors and all of that. So here's a trick I've learned. If I put it as a website and then I come back up here and I grab a share link from send. So I'm going to go to send and I grab a website link right here and copy it. When I put it in, control paste, and I save it. Now when the kids see it, it's beautiful and colorful and has all the things that I like. I know, it's just how I roll. So, but it absolutely would have loaded the same way had I done it as add an assignment, put it here as a Google Drive document. It just doesn't add as pretty. Or put it here as a website link, I could have done it, or I can put it in here. All of those different ways will work. So you're just gonna play around and try and figure out which way you like the way that it looks the best, okay? So it's 4:19. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to just try it out and see what you think. The easiest way to do it is to go first into your drive, find something, remember we're just playing, we're gonna take this all out later. Find something that you want to try and put in. You can start with the slide or you can start with the form and then try and stick something in there. Now here's the great thing. Now that I've done that, It's really easy. I can just go back in and I can either delete it completely. So I can do my ice cream cones and delete, which I'm going to do since this is math sitting inside of a reading folder, or you can just hide it as well. I'm going to delete mine because they don't belong in here. All right. I know that that is a lot, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to go in and try it out. See if you can get something from your Google Drive into your Edgenuity.
Amy, is there any way with us having, 4 schools that we can copy all that into our other schools or get it from somewhere?
Of course there's not, Sarah. That would be too easy. No, so you're gonna find tricks that will make it go quicker. Like on my landing pages now, I just have to compose it on one of the pages and then I just copy the whole thing and then paste it into my other pages. But no, of course not. You cannot across tiles share things. I did write a flaming letter to Edgenuity engineers, though, all 2 of them, and let them know they really need to figure that out.
Thank you. Awesome.
Can you pick it up from the library when you go to the next one, since you've already made it in one?
Can you go to the library within Edgenuity?
Yeah, when you're editing and you know how you go to add an assignment or whatever, and it says library, can you just pick it up and put it in that way?
Yeah, let's try it. Let's try it and see. Nope, it is not. So maybe it is. What am I in? I'm in Eisenhower, because of course I have 4 different tiles here too. No, I don't see it sitting in the library.
Because when I can do it with my stop sign, but if I'm like working in like Wilson and I go to my library and let's say I made it for Park Ridge, all my stuff that I did for Park Ridge will be up. So let's say I did whatever you did in my Park Ridge run, and if I go to that school, I can pick it from there and put it, like copy it and then send it over. But I've only done it with my stop sign. So
well, you know what? I'm intrigued now. So while you guys are playing, I'm going to play with that also. Okay. All right.
Do they have to have a Google Classroom?
No, all of these things that I did, they don't have to have a Google Classroom at all. So that, and in fact, I'm going to show you where the video is to do it, to force a copy. And then you can have them work on assignments that are actual Google Slides and have them sent back to you. And they never have to be in a classroom.
Okay, great.
Amy, I tried a long time ago embedding something from my Google Drive into Edgenuity, but for some reason it was blocked. What am I missing?
I don't know. Try it now and see if you get it blocked again. So then we can backtrack and figure out where the problem is.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Amy, first of all, thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.
And secondly, so how did you get the video from Pearson into Edgenuity?
That's a great question. So I use Screencastify.
Right.
So all I did was I opened up my Pearson and found what I wanted to use. For that particular module, for 2nd grade, it was estimating and it was just the pits. But the week before we had done a cursory look at place value. So I decided to go into Pearson Unit 9, which is Common Core place value. I found the lessons that I wanted, opened the videos, and then just quickly click Screencastify and then click through the video. And then I like
She's frozen.
Too bad she doesn't have a chat.
Yeah, she's frozen.
I was at school today and all the electricity went out.
Oh no.
Yeah. I think she's coming back.
This is literally like holding us in suspense.
Let's see.
Did she say how we were going to get the...
I love technology. My internet literally just dropped everything. Sorry. So I just did insert video, and then it'll let you choose a video from within your drive.
Okay.
Okay.
Real quick, Ian, I'm putting in a slide from my Google Docs. Do I want to make it as a Google Doc or a website?
When you're putting in a doc, you can do, I would probably use it as a Google Doc. So where it says insert as a Google Doc, you can use that for docs and slides. I usually put forms as a website, but Sarah, it's up to you. All of them will have the same functionality.
Okay.
Mine said pop-up blocker, but it only comes up for Edgenuity. I can insert anything from my Google Drive anywhere else.
A pop-up blocker. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had that since I tried it weeks ago, and then I just kind of gave up. I kept trying on it, so I don't know. It's only on Edgenuity it does that.
That's a mic question. Hang tight when we're done, and I bet we can work that out. Okay, real quick, since we're almost done, I am going to put up the code. All right, if I can find it again. So that you have your code, so you can get paid for this wonderful endeavor. And I'll leave that up for the last 5 minutes. But actually, quickly, let me show you what else, the other nuggets of joy you have in here. We didn't get to Flipgrid. Super, super easy to embed and so cute. Okay, I gotta think. I put one into my math for next week. No, for next week. So they load like this. Place value review, count by 10 with friends. And of course now it's not going to load because they're all of you people. Oh, there we go. So this is how a Flipgrid loads. How fun is this? So this particular Flipgrid, I didn't even make. I got it out of their disco library because this week we are working on skip counting. So they watch the little skip count video, but you've actually got your functionality right inside of Edgenuity. So I love this. It's so much easier. And in fact, a lot of times it won't even ask for their username. This one, I happen to be logged into one of my kids, but it will let you continue and then they just change their name on there. So Flipgrid, super easy, super fun to embed. Also, if you really, really want to listen to all of your darlings read for those audio recordings, you can actually have them do it here. And then they don't have to submit an audio recording to you, which is fabulous. So you can do Flipgrid. You've got a video right here, how you're going to embed Flipgrid. You've got a video for if you have something like an activity log that you prefer on a fillable PDF. You've got directions here for how to put in PDFs. And Audrey even included a copy of her PE log if you would like it. You've got a very long video right here about how you can actually create your own assessment in Edgenuity. I prefer forms because I usually I just need a quick in and out. Do you know it? Do you not know it? But it can do all sorts of really cool things if you create an Edgenuity assessment. So you've got all the steps to do that there as well. And there is your Kickup Code. For those of you, I will leave you dangling on that. If you want to have a Google Slides that they can actually fill out and get back to you, you have to make it so you force a copy for them. So if you've used slides before, like in Bitmoji Classroom, there's a way for you to make it when they click on it, they are forced to make a copy. And that's how you do it if you want them to each have their own copy that they can interact with and then send back to you.
Amy, did you say how we would get this presentation?
I'm going to email it to you as soon as we're done.
Perfect.
Yep. So, and you definitely want to save a copy because these, if you're like me, I have to do something 4 or 5 different times before it finally sticks. And then if I don't do it for a month, then it's gone again. So these have been great to be able to go back and just refresh my memory quickly.
Amy, does Edgenuity have the ability to read out loud the questions like on a quiz or an assessment for our kiddos on IEPs?
Unfortunately, no. There's not an immersive reader. That the Leprechaun box is not in those quizzes. And so that is not at this point a function in Edgenuity. It is something we also did put on though as on the wish list of things that we want. All right, everybody. It's been wonderful. If you need or would like to stay on, I'm going to hang out. Mike's going to hang out as well because I keep giving him the questions I can't answer. And Otherwise, we will be doing Basics 1 again. There is a Basics 1 tomorrow. So if you want to learn about making an agenda, ditching their calendar and making your own, playing around with those headers, we go over all of that in Basics 1. And then next week, start looking for that one on Gradebook, and especially how we can export grades and make it a little easier in Q, even if you have 4 schools. So thanks, everybody. It's been wonderful. Hang in there. Don't let the leprechauns get you down. And I'm going to hang out. I'll send you this Kickup code in the email as well. So just in case you didn't get it, but there you go. MTD 84E.
Thank you.
You are so welcome.
That's awesome.
And feel free anytime if you have more questions, if you work and then you come back and have more questions, just shoot me an email.
Amy, you were great. We love you.
Love you too, Katie. Thank you.
Hi, Amy. Thank you. Great job. I do have 2 questions.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Of course.
One, I don't think I registered in time, so
that's okay.
It won't take my, it won't confirm my attendance.
Okay,
And
I will
then-
add you in.
Okay, my next question I think is for Michael.
Okay.
So I was teaching today and Kristen went to the Edgenuity office hours. But in my Edgenuity, all of my work that needs to be graded is gone. It says 0 and I had like 80 plus. So.
Okay, yeah, so you're the friend she was talking about.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Oh, you guys can probably stop recording too, since you're doing the presentation.
I don't know if it's because I hid my calendar. I don't know, but all my work, I have 0